Talk about what kinds of conversations you had with Bob as far as what you were supposed to do when you had nothing to say.
Well, it was a very different movie for me because I had done some really big budgeted movies. Paternity with Burt Reynolds. I did a movie called Honky Tonk Freeway, directed by John Schlesinger. These were massive movies that were going to be huge hits. They were flat out bombs, but they were full of all the hype on movie sets of this is going to make you kid and all that. And this was very refreshing because it was a low budget movie. But Bob Clark and Gene Shepard, who wrote the source material and wrote the script with Bob for it, had worked for 12 years to get the movie made. So the level of preparation, and they had to agree to do other things for the studio to get it made. The level of preparation on the set, I had never been around, and you could feel it. And Bob had the whole movie on note cards, which you probably remember that he had, and he had it not only shot listed, but the framing that he wanted, notes to himself about performances. And this was before video tap. Most directors now sit behind, you've seen it on sets, right? They sit behind the screen, they watch. So his face was right next to the matte box to the camera. So I had to learn not to have that be distracting, first off, because he was right there. But he would read the narration, not Gene, in the cadence that he felt it was ultimately going to be in the movie. And then sometimes would just go off book from the narration and just talk to me about what you might be feeling. So it was actually sort of like having a subconscious. So as I was working, he was my interior monologue in many ways. So it helped, I think, get the performance. And he was very demanding in a good way, I think, to get the performances that he wanted. So it was a fun movie to work on because it was challenging. It was the weather, it was cold, it was outside. There were things that you couldn't solve by writing a check. I was up in Canada. I didn't live in California at the time, so there was a technical thing where the child labor laws, I think I was doing 12 hours a day at the time, which was fine. Because if I got tired, he'd let me go home. It was that kind of a set, and you've kind of felt, I'd always describe it as sort of that take your lunch pail to work kind of set, where the work was paying off. Now, the tone seemed crazy to me at times. The blind guy and the cowboys, and nobody quite knew, but Bob and Gene just knew. And to have Melinda and Darren on set as well. So a lot of those scenes were when I was conspiring to get the gun in with Bob, but to have them on set as such great leaders for us, for kids, because we were still kids. We were 12 and 10 and 8, and we were wild, probably inappropriate, and running around, and not as disciplined as we should be. But they set such a great tone of warmth and of leadership. And I remember Melinda feeling like my mom in those moments, and Darren feeling like a dad. And so those performances just drew you in as an actor. It just really helped set the tone on the set for so many of those scenes. And I think you said it in the opening, without them, I don't think you have the same movie at all.